Hello, dear friends and colleagues. You know, for quite a few years now, federal court interpreters in the United States have been doing their very necessary work without a correct remuneration. What do I mean by that? It's been many years since the federally certified court interpreters in the Spanish-English combination saw their fees go up. These independent contractors are the backbone of the administration of justice for those people who speak Spanish in the United States. By the way, the second country with the most Spanish speakers in the world. Interpreters have been going on and doing their job at the same fee for many, many years, despite the fact that the economy has gotten worse, despite the fact that we have one of the highest inflations in history in the United States nowadays, and despite the fact that other interpreters working for federal agencies and many state agencies have been their fees go up consistently according to an adjustment for the cost of living that we see every year. This is important because interpreters patiently waited for years until the federal government, the judiciary branch of the federal government, I should say, raised their fees. But this never happened. So interpreters took action, and this year they talked to the government and they asked for a raise. Interpreters work on a fiscal year according to the federal government. That fiscal year starts on October 1st of every year. Interpreters as independent contractors work according to an individual contract that they receive every single year, and that is needed for them to provide their services in the federal court system of the United States. For that reason, at the end of the fiscal year, in the month of September every year, interpreters get their new contract to renew their services for one more year. This time, something happened. Since interpreters were basically ignored by the judiciary, many of them refused to sign the contract. Some others signed the contract, but they crossed off the portion that indicates what the fees are, because interpreters do not want to work for that kind of money. The result is that now, with a new fiscal year already into the second month, the federal court system is working without federally certified court interpreters because they have no contract. What's been the federal government's answer? First, ignoring the interpreters. Second, not really committing to anything, and then after that, nothing but crickets. What does it mean? It means that the federal government does not consider interpreters important enough for them to be retained as far as staying working for the judiciary. And for that, of course, they would need to be able to pay their bills, be able to live in the 21st century economy. So what's happening is that these interpreters are looking for work somewhere else, and the needs of the federal courthouse are going unfulfilled because staff interpreters are not everywhere, and the places where they do have them, well, there's a lot of work just for them to do alone. They have always counted on the aid, on the help of the independent contractors. So this is a very specific situation that is leaving the administration of justice at the federal level in a big parenthesis. Interpreters are not working because they have no contract. Interpreters don't want to work under the conditions that the federal government was taking for granted and ignoring the interpreters' needs and just renewing the contract at the same fee every year. Now, the federal government may say, well, the fiscal year is already here. The budget is an act of Congress and we already have a budget. And that is true. However, all federal agencies and all branches of government have additional monies in cases of emergency. And this is really an emergency, the administration of justice. So the federal government could easily come out and say, you know what, for the rest of this fiscal year, we will raise your fee to so much. And next year, we will ask for more money from Congress so we can give you a fee that is according to the cost of living in that moment. And this should be done every single year. But the judiciary has decided not to do that. They opted to ignore the interpreters, and that is not good news. The situation is a little bit more delicate now because in the last few days, the results of the last federal certification exam were announced, and there are many new federally certified court interpreters in the English-Spanish combination. These interpreters will receive all their documents so that they can take the oath and they get their certificate and they go through their security clearance and all that, and that's perfect. But also they will get a contract, a federal contract for this fiscal year for them to sign in order to be able to work in court. And the problem is that that contract will be for the same fee that the current independent contractors have already rejected. So let this be a warning sign and a warning message for the newly certified federal court interpreters. If you get that contract and you are going to get that fee, please think about it, because if you do sign that contract and you start working for that amount of money, that will create problems for your colleagues and for you also in the future. On the other hand, I understand that you might be scared to go against the federal apparatus in this moment. We are not asking you to do that. And if you must sign the contract, well, sign it, but cross off the fee portion. Or if you don't do that and you sign the contract, just reject any requests from the federal courthouse to go work there, because interpreters have to be united at this moment, and this gives the government an easy way out, because they could start channeling a lot of work, especially in the places where new court interpreters were certified, to the new ones, and with that pretext continue to ignore the already certified interpreters who have been supporting the judiciary for years and years for the same ridiculous amount of money as the interpreter fee. If you just compare it to other fees that state courts pay, or even other government agencies in the executive branch pay to the interpreters, and I'm talking independent contractors, it is laughable what the federal judiciary expects its independent contractors to work for. So my suggestion to the new guys is, please talk to your colleagues that are already established and see what is going on. Don't fall for this one. It is important to show solidarity and union to this new group that you just joined. It is important for interpreters to demand what they have to get. And they have to get it because everybody else is getting it, because interpreters anywhere else and everywhere else are getting it. And you just cannot make a living with that ridiculous amount of money, because a money that was somewhat attractive many, many years ago when it was set, now it's a laughable amount of money under the current economic situation. At least that is my opinion. Thank you very much.